So I think there will become a time when I'm as good as I can ever be, and I will have to say, okay, I can live on this for a while.
Yeah.
Like a lot of musicians do. You know, they work themselves up to a certain level, and then they survive on that level for as long as they can. Mm-hmm. I don't think I would work that way because I have another goal, you know.
The writing?
Yeah, that's become another goal for me, and I can measure my improvement in writing as I used to be able to do with drumming 5 or 6 years ago.
So my name's Scott K. Fish, talking about my recent posting of the audio for the interview I did with Neil Peart that appeared as a cover story in the April '84, I believe, issue of Modern Drummer magazine. That's gotten a lot of people liked it, let's just put it that way, and they are really enjoying being able to hear Neil say the things that they've read him saying, except now they're getting it in the unedited version with the sound. So it's gotten a lot of traffic, and it doesn't surprise me because Neil, I interviewed Neil 3 times, I think, and this interview that we're talking about is the tape that I used for his April 1983 or 4 Modern Drummer feature interview. It was a cover story. And I've learned from audience feedback that that's, if not the most popular Neil Peart interview, that it's one of them. It's right up there. That Neil's fans, Rush fans, just really, really like that interview. So I've had the cassette since then, and it was taped at Radio City, in a back room at Radio City Music Hall in New York. Rush was at Radio City Music Hall for 5 days in a row. This was the last day. And so the reason I've never done anything with it is because it was recorded very, very low. And I was never able to figure out how to make it sound better, increase the level. And I tried years and years ago using Audacity. Anyway, I just kind of, as an experiment, I took WavePad, and Audacity is running again, and I was able to figure out how to resurrect the sound, bring it up to speed, clean it up, and released it. And when I did that at first, I couldn't even remember. I couldn't remember where I was when we did the interview. I wasn't stoned or anything, but I couldn't remember where the interview took place. And I couldn't remember where the interview was used. You know, which interview was this of Neil's? Which is a lesson. You asked before about people who want to do writing. Mark date and location and names. If you're taping something, write it down, because you'll end up 50 years up the road going, where the hell was I when I did this? What's this all about? Yeah. So, but anyway, the response has been really, really gratifying to read. And pretty much it's people saying, I've loved that interview. I've read that interview over and over and over and over. To be able to hear the interview after, is just, and as it should, it makes people's impression of Neil even better than it was, and it was already substantially up there. But he just comes across as the great guy he was. No airs, 0 airs about him, and smart, well-spoken. I don't think there's a curse word in the whole. Which pretty interesting. You hear me bumming cigarettes from him, and because I didn't have a pack, and he graciously gave me one of his players. Yeah. So anyway, he was a great guy. He was a curious guy. He many, many, many levels. Very disciplined guy. I see in his face the contentment of a guy who did exactly what he wanted to do. He played as long as he wanted to play with Rush, and then he retired, and he wanted to enjoy retirement. And I look at his face and I can see that, job well done in his face.
And to me, it's the matter of pride is to play the music that I love, you know. That was the essence of it. So it never felt like a compromise to me to do a day job, to pay my bills, and at night work in a bar band that played music that I liked playing, or just try to put together a band in spare time that played music that I liked, you know. For me, the essence of it always was to play music the way I like to play it, not to play it, period. You know, I don't care about being a professional musician necessarily, because there's other things that I can do and other things that are satisfying to do. And music is something that I would never stop doing, and I'm sure I'll never stop playing drums, but at a certain period in my life it will not be the focus, you know, it'll be a hobby.